So, you have a pair of lovebirds and you were wondering and thinking, how can I breed these wonderful and majestic birds? Or maybe you have already bred your birds but didn't have success. Well, you came to the right place, buddy. I will help you on your journey into birdiology. Hi everybody, hi! Welcome back to my channel Birdiology, and on this episode I will tell you all about my knowledge, about my experiences about breeding African lovebirds. So look no further because this is
Complete Guide on Breeding Lovebirds. Complete Guide on Breeding Lovebirds. Rise up this morning, out on my feet, walking down the doorway into the street. Welcome to my journey, Birdiology.
The first step we're going to talk about is finding the right pair. Remember that there are 9 species of lovebirds. Not all of these species can interbreed, but other species like the eye-ring lovebirds can be crossbred with each other and their offspring will turn out as hybrids. Think of it like crossbreeding a wolf and a dog, and the result, wolf dog. Just like wolf dogs, hybrids of the eye-ring family are interfertile and can have youngs of their own. But I don't recommend crossbreeding lovebirds because it will eliminate their identity and purity and their value. You can't win the best in show with hybrids. Another example of crossbreeding is pairing peach-faced lovebirds with the eye-ring family. Yes, they can produce hybrids, but these hybrids are sterile, which means they can't have a family of their own. Some breeders call it the forbidden love. Think of it like mules, a cross between a horse and a donkey that can never reproduce. So by now, you might be thinking that breeding hybrids is a big no-no, but sometimes it can benefit your breeding. The good thing about crossbreeding is a thing that's called transmutation. Basically, this means transferring a new mutation into another species of lovebirds that doesn't have that mutation yet. To understand it clearly, the idea is transferring a color to another species of lovebirds that doesn't have that certain color. We will talk about this in another video because it's a very long discussion. So for now, choose a pair that belongs to each species. Personatus to Personatus, Fishers to Fishers, Nitrogenis or Black Cheek to Black Cheek, Lilianae to Lilianae, Peach Face to Peach Face, and so on. You can pair any color as long as it is its own species. So, you already have an idea of which pairing is right and what to choose. Now let's move on. One important thing is to know the age of your birds. Lovebirds can start to breed at 6 months old. Some breeders will set their pairs at this age, but others breed them at 8 months. But I highly recommend breeding them at their sexual maturity around 10 months to a year old. Breeding young birds can cause many problems because they are still developing in their first year and it may ruin your bird in the long run. Pregnancy is too stressful for birds, especially for young hens in which her body is not ready for breeding. In early motherhood, the hen may not fully grasp the responsibility of being a mother, and this may lead into not taking good care of her youngs or rejecting them. Health risks for your hen and her chicks can also happen, like bad genes being passed on and behavioral changes like aggression, throwing of eggs, eating of eggs, and worse, killing her youngs. Feeding her chicks and caring for them can cause too much stress on her body. That's why she needs to become mentally and physically matured before breeding. Moving on, there are 2 ways of pairing lovebirds. One is the natural pairing, in which a male and a female chooses his or her own partner and be bonded for life. This pairing is what I recommend because it will give you more success in breeding, more fertile eggs and less problems to encounter. The second is what they call forced pairing. In this pairing, you are the one to choose the birds that you want to breed. This is also called selective breeding. You can develop traits that you want to achieve. Downside of this is sometimes it will take a very long time to make your birds bond, and unfortunately the hen can kill the cock. There are ways to prevent these from happening. In natural pairing, you can put many birds on one big flight cage, but make sure they are all of the same species to prevent hybridization. Don't mix very young birds with older ones. Bullying is part of every lovebird's life, so always keep an eye for bullying. After putting them in the big cage, all you need to do is observe. Best time to observe is morning and in the afternoon before the sun sets. Look for behaviors like feeding each other and following each other, and they will sit tightly together at night. Also try to observe their gender. Lovebirds can also bond with the same gender, so always be aware of this. I already have a video on how to tell the gender of lovebirds. Check it out if you still didn't watch it. So, after you've observed their behaviors and if you saw them mate, it's time to put them in breeding cages. Now, about forced pairing. This is a little bit risky, but very rewarding in the end. Get yourself double cages or 2 small cages. First, put the male by himself in a cage for a few days to get accustomed and to make him feel he owns the cage and make it his territory. We cannot place the female first because females are very territorial. If you put a male on a female's cage, surely the female will chase the male and may end up killing the male. So after the male gets comfortable in a new cage, then it's time to put the female and observe fighting. Some birds will bond at this time and some will take weeks or months. If you see fighting and chasing, put the divider or put them on individual cages and put them close to each other and wait or look for signs of bonding. You may also want to isolate them from other lovebirds so they cannot hear or see birds that they want. They will feel uneasy on the new place, and because there are no other birds around, they will eventually pair or bond together because lovebirds are social birds and they need companions. Another thing to remember is pairing siblings or relatives. This is called inbreeding. I encourage you not to do inbreeding because it will cause lots of problems like infertile eggs, deformities in chicks, dead in shell, and inbred birds has a very short lifespan. Don't use birds with diseases and with physical deformities because there are chances that they can pass deformities or faults to their youngs. So choose the best quality birds you have for breeding. Make sure they have complete feathers, not floppy and frayed feathers, good color, can fly gracefully, nice looking feet and beak and not crusty, clear eyes, and so on. Molting birds shouldn't also be bred because molting is a very stressful time for birds and it is also painful for them. Many problems can also happen when breeding molting birds. They aren't really in mental and physical condition at this time. And speaking of condition, now you have your bonded pair, it's time to prepare or condition your birds. Conditioning your birds is very essential on your breeding. As I said, breeding is very stressful for your birds and they must be prepared mentally and physically. Not like budgies that you can see if they are in breeding condition just by looking at their seers. African lovebirds has no physical signs of breeding condition, but you can tell by their behaviors. Female will spread their wings and males will always want to climb the hen. We can encourage these behaviors by changing their diets. In the wild, when vegetation starts to grow and flourish, birds will have many supplies and varieties of foods, and this will encourage them into breeding. We need to simulate this by giving our birds varieties of fresh foods and a high protein diet. More protein will get them in breeding mode. More protein means they can sustain the development of their chicks until fledging. You can now add or increase your high protein seeds like sunflower, safflower, and canary seeds. Be aware that these seeds are also high in fat and oil and may cause what we call sapola in our country. Sapola is basically just excess fats on our birds that accumulate in their belly. To avoid confusion with egg binding and lumps, sapola is yellow and soft, Sapola may stop your hen inbreeding and may cause egg binding and infertility. To prevent this from occurring, you can give 5 to 10 pieces of sunflower and safflower daily. So always be mindful of what you feed. You can also give sprouted seeds, hemp seeds, egg food, and high protein pellets. You can use pellets that are used for chickens. Lots of products to choose from. Some breeders also use dog food or cat food kibble because it is also high in protein. Just grind it and add small amounts in your soft food. You can also add dried mealworms. Provide calcium, one of the most essential mineral in breeding birds. Always have your cuttle bone and mineral block at all times. This will help your birds have strong eggs and prevents egg binding and for good development of bones in growing chicks. Lots of discussion about this, so go on and check out my video about this and how to make your mineral block. Vitamins. Because we mainly give seeds to our birds, they cannot get enough vitamins and nutrients on seeds, so we need to provide them with vitamins and supplements. There are many vitamin products out there. You can try all of them, and there's liquid and there's powder form. So choose whatever suits your need. Here are some guidelines on what vitamins and minerals a product should have. Amino acids. Amino acids builds or makes protein, very beneficial for muscle development and muscle mass, especially in chicks. Lack of essential amino acids can hinder chick growth and can reduce egg size and egg production. Selenium. Selenium also have important roles in reproduction. It provides high semen quality and good hatchability of eggs. It is also an antioxidant. Vitamin B complex, good for the nervous system and regulates protein, fat, and carbohydrate metabolism. It helps break down food and nutrients for your bird's body to use. Vitamin D3, for absorption of calcium. Vitamin A, good for the reproductive system and immune system. And vitamin E, the fertility vitamin. You can give vitamins every day until the first egg is laid or until the last egg. After that, just give them vitamins every other day or 3 times a week because too much vitamins may cause double clutches. Double clutch means your bird started to breed and laid eggs again before the first batch of eggs doesn't even hatch yet or the chicks are still very young. This can cause throwing or killing their chicks because they want to start breeding again. You can use vitamins that are made for pigeons and chickens. Because cockfighting is huge here, there's lots of competition on products and resulting very good formulations of their vitamins. When using vitamins made for big birds, we need to decrease the dosage because our birds are too small to follow the suggested dosage on their labels. Just a pinch in a 50 ml tube will do. You will know if you put too much by looking at the color of the water. Dark color is too much and light color is just the right mix. Also use purified or unchlorinated water. You can give vitamins in the morning or afternoon. Remove vitamins after 2 to 3 hours because it can easily go bad. Make sure that the sun doesn't hit your vitamins because it will lose its potency. This is the vitamin I use. It has the essential vitamins and what I like about it is that it also have probiotics. Probiotics is another important supplement in breeding lovebirds. This can increase fertility and can help with stress. It also improves chick survival rate. When chicks hatch, they have no bacteria on their gut. They rely on their parents to supply them with food with good bacteria. Just add 4 to 6 drops on their drinking water. Make sure that the water has no chlorine because chlorine kills bacteria and also sunlight kills bacteria. You can give your birds probiotics every day or every other day or alternate with your vitamins. Another very important food in breeding are vegetables. Without fresh foods, in my experience, your birds will not breed or will stop breeding. If you want your birds to mate or breed fast, Give them leafy greens every day? When I give my birds greens every day, especially Chinese cabbage or locally called pechay, some of my birds lays an egg on flight cages after a week of giving these greens. If you really want to encourage mating, these are the aphrodisiac for lovebirds. Chili peppers. Yes, you can give your birds hot peppers. Not like humans, birds are not affected by the hotness of peppers no matter how hot it is. It is rich in vitamin A and C and also the B complex vitamins needed for breeding. That's why breeders use hot peppers as aphrodisiac. Add it on your soft food or give it fresh. One of the best aphrodisiac is purslane. Almost all the breeders of lovebirds here in our country know and use purslane to encourage their birds to mate. It is already proven for a long time. It is available everywhere. You can also find it on the sides of the streets or even in cracks on the wall. Give it to your birds fresh about 2 to 3 times a week because it contains oxalic acid that can suppress the absorption of calcium. It's not all about your bird's sexual drive that will give you success on your breeding. We also need fertility. There are lots of fertility boosters out there. Try each one and choose what works well for you. Make your own program on your vitamins and supplements. You can give vitamins on Monday, probiotics on Tuesday, fertility vitamin on Wednesday, and so on. And have one day rest, just plain water on that day. You can also give them these pellets for higher chances of fertility. These are for brood hens, very effective for lovebirds too. It also have fertility booster. You can give it every morning. Give little amounts because it can make your birds fat, so be cautious about that. You can also grind it and add it on your soft food. Now you know how to condition your lovebirds' health. Let's move on to their physical health. To make sure that our birds get all the nutrition they need, we need to get rid of parasites inside and out. Deworming your birds. Not like wild birds who gets food anywhere and gets parasites. Our birds are mostly bred on cages and does not have contact with other birds or eats in the ground. But sometimes they can get parasites on their food, so we need to get rid of these invaders that gets nutrients from our birds. I haven't seen deworming products for lovebirds here in our country, so breeders use poultry dewormers. You can lessen the amount you can give, but we need to get the right dosage for it to take its full effect, which is hard to estimate. If you're using these dewormers, make sure to use different brands each time because parasites can develop immunity on one particular drug. So another option is natural dewormers. I prefer diatomaceous earth in this matter. I use it for deworming my birds. There is no overdose and it's natural. You can add it on their food or water. It works like tiny microscopic sharp blades that cuts worms to death. Give it every day for 2 weeks or 1 month. Don't worry, this is very safe and very beneficial for our birds because it also have calcium and silica for development of bones and eggs. Bird mites. We also need to get rid of these mites because they can cause infections and suck blood and causing problems in breeding. There are products used for fighting cocks that you can use. These are also safe for our birds. Just spray your birds 2 times a week or you can do it weekly. Also spray your cages and surroundings to eliminate mites that are hanging around in your aviary. You can also use neem oil or neem leaves. Just add it on water and spray your birds and surroundings. By this time, your birds are in perfect condition and it's time to put the nest box and put your birds in breeding cages. The perfect size of cage for lovebirds has 30 inches in length and 17 or 18 inches in height and width. You can go bigger than that. We need bigger cages so your birds can still fly and exercise will prevent sapola. It will also help young fledglings learn to fly faster and escape their parents when the female tries to drive them out. I use these double cages because I can put the divider in case their mother gets aggressive. By doing this, the father can still provide food until the chicks becomes independent. We also need a nest box. Standard size for lovebirds is 10 inches in length and 8 inches in height and width. You can go bigger, but don't get smaller than that, because smaller nest boxes can easily make your birds crowded, and older chicks and parents can easily crush younger hatchlings. It can also fill with poop fast. Always hang your nest box on the higher parts of your cage and not on the floor. You can put it inside or hang it outside. I put my boxes outside because I want more space for my birds so they can fly and have their exercise freely. And I put it on the side so I can still observe and enjoy watching my birds while they feed their babies. You can put it inside or in front of your cage if you have limited space. After you installed your nest box, you need to put insecticides to deter bugs, especially ants. Ants are the #1 problem when it comes to breeding. They can attack and kill chicks. Sometimes when there's a dead chick in your nest box, in no time, the ants will swarm on the dead chick and they will kill the remaining chicks. The most effective way to get rid of ants is 7. This is what I use. I mix 1 tablespoon to 1 liter of water and spray inside and outside of my nest box. And I spray possible entries and ant trails. You can also put 7 as powder inside the nest box before giving birds their nesting materials. You can also use malathion. Make sure to remove food and water before spraying. If you feel unsafe with these products, you can use natural insecticides like neem leaves or neem oil, lemongrass, citronella, and spray or put them in your nest box. Don't forget about diatomaceous earth. Not only for deworming, it is also our defense against insects. Add it inside your nest box and corners where ants pass. Because of those microscopic shards, it cuts the exoskeletons of insects, causing dehydration and eventually death. It is also very safe for our birds. You can also get some dish or tin cans and put them under the foot of your cage stand and put water or used oil so ants can cross into your cages. You can also just put grease or Vaseline in the foot of your cages. This is also effective. The downside of this is over time, it will be filled with birdseed husks and ants can cross. So always check and remove dirt if you're doing this. Now, about putting perches. I put my perches on each side of the cage. The farther, the better, so the birds can have their exercise to prevent sapola. Remember that lovebirds fly horizontally and not upwards, so it is better to have longer cages than upright cages. Make sure that all your perches are fixed and doesn't move, because moving perches like swings can cause infertility because the male will have a hard time mating while trying to maintain his balance. About feeders, you can choose whatever you prefer. There is no right or wrong on this. You may also want to consider the location of your cages. It is better to have sunlight to make them breed fast and get its benefits, especially vitamin D. You can place them in the east for the morning sun. I don't recommend facing your cages in the west because it will be too hot and can be too cold at night because of the west wind. You also want to put your cages on higher elevations and not on the floor. They will feel safe on higher places, safe from predators. You want them as far from other pets like dogs and especially cats. They will not breed if they feel unsafe. Also keep them away from human traffic. Find a place where there's no people always pass by and children playing. All of these can cause stress, and stressed birds attracts diseases. And now your breeding cages are all set up, you can put your pair and give them nesting materials. Nesting materials are very important in breeding lovebirds. It will make the female excited and will encourage them to breed. It is also very important for chicks as it will absorb baby poop and prevent splayed legs on chicks. You can use any materials that you can strip like corn husks, tree branches that you can peel. I use the petiole or stalk of palm trees and coconuts because lovebirds can strip the whole part and nothing's wasted. The best material used by breeders are moringa stalks and branches, because while the female strips its bark, she can also ingest the nutrients of this superfood. Only the female will build their nest while the male is just playing with the materials. By this time, while the hen builds her nest, the pair will also mate, and after about 10 days after mating, the first egg is laid. You can check the nest box every day until you see the first egg, and this is the time to stop giving nesting materials so the hen will focus on sitting and incubating the eggs. After that, stop looking and check the nest box after 19 or 21 days, because if you're always checking on the eggs, the hen might get stressed or disturbed, and there's a chance that she won't sit on her eggs again. This happens on first-time breeders. You can try to candle the eggs after 10 days to see which eggs are fertile, and you can remove the infertile eggs so the hen can focus sitting on fertile eggs. You can use pen lights or the flashlight of your phone to do the candling. No need to touch the eggs. The hen can abandon the eggs if she smelled human or other unfamiliar scents. If an egg is fertile, you will see red veins and you can also see the heart beating. As it grows, it will turn darker until light no longer passes through. Even without candling, older fertile eggs also turns bluish and infertile eggs stays yellowish white. And when you candle infertile eggs, it's just glowing yellow and nothing to see. So after the first egg, the hen will lay every other day and can lay 3 to 6 eggs per clutch. If you saw 9 or more eggs, this could mean that they had double clutch or both of your birds are females. Another important factor for the survival and hatchability of chicks is humidity. You need at least 50 to 80% humidity. Humidity can affect the development of the embryo. Low humidity can cause smaller chicks and can dehydrate the egg, while very high humidity makes them big, too big that they can't get enough oxygen. So you need to have an hygrometer to monitor the humidity levels. You may also want to have a humidifier to increase the humidity if it becomes too low, or have an aquarium or fountains in your aviary. But don't worry, the female knows what to do. Sometimes she will get some nesting materials in the nest box and dip them in water and brings it back to increase the humidity inside the nest box. That's why nesting materials are also important. So while the hen incubates the eggs, the male usually stays and sleeps outside and he's in charge of feeding the hen. It is also a sign that the hen already laid an egg. After 21 days, you can check the nest box every day to check for hatchlings. You might want to check them when the hen is outside to lessen distress on the hen. Seeing chicks is the most satisfying experience ever. It makes me very happy every time. In the first week of hatching, the mother is the one who feeds and takes care of the babies while the father brings food to the mother. Now is the time to give your birds unlimited food. Give them high protein diet like egg food, fresh corn, sunflower, canary seeds, oat groats, sprouted seeds, and you can give high protein pellets, and you can also give them starter feeds or chick crumble for chickens. Your birds will learn to eat this over time. And don't forget to add moringa powder on your soft food, and you can also add spirulina because it is also loaded with protein and can increase the survival of your chicks. Continue your vitamins and probiotics, and you can now add dextrose powder to prevent dehydration and give more energy on your breeders and its chicks. You can give them every other day or every day if the weather is too hot, especially in the summer. You can also give them electrolytes to replenish their water levels. After 2 weeks, you can now put ring bands on your chicks. You can skip this, but I recommend putting bands to avoid confusion on their identity and write and record everything down from date of hatch and its pedigree. Always free your hands with any scents like perfumes, lotions, and oils when handling chicks or eggs. If the hen smells foreign scents, she might abandon the chicks or can kill them. Wash your hands in plain water, and you can dip your hands on bird seed so the smell is familiar to the hen. And after 3 to 4 weeks, The chicks already have complete feathers, and this is the time they will try to eat by themselves. Sometimes chicks get out of the nest box and tries to eat. If they can climb back before the night comes, just put them back inside the nest box. In about 5 to 6 weeks, they will learn to fly and they already know how to eat bird seeds. This is the time to observe the hen. If she is chasing and biting her chicks, it's time to transfer the chicks in a separate cage or put the divider so the father can still feed the chicks that are still weaning. The hen can kill the young birds because she is in breeding condition again. You will see the hen rearranging her nest and you will hear scratching inside the nest box. This is the time she gets aggressive. About 8 weeks or 2 months, the chicks are fully independent and ready to leave their parents. You can now transfer them in the flight cage. Make sure they are with the same age or with other young birds. Don't mix young birds with matured birds or the young ones will get bullied. Signs that a bird is bullied is when they have flopped up feathers and look sick. Remove and separate them quickly. You can also put them on smaller cages so they can still grow in good size because flying on big cages takes a lot of energy and nutrients. You can also let them stay with their parents if you don't see any aggression. I have a pair who still have their youngs even they are already in maturity. The parents have no problem staying with them. So while your pair is trying to breed again, you can clean and disinfect your cages and your nest boxes and repeat everything we talked about. After 3 clutches or after the 3rd batch of breeding, you may want them to rest. Lovebirds can breed all year, and if you let them breed for too long, you can ruin your birds and may not breed again. Imagine the stress on all that caring and feeding. Their bodies need rest. Just try to breed on the next season. Breeding season may differ from other countries. Our breeding season here in the Philippines is when the rainy season comes and resting our birds in the summer because it gets too hot for the birds, causing more stress and causing heat stroke, and chicks die of high temperatures. You will encounter many problems when you are breeding lovebirds. I will make a separate video about problems and solutions about breeding African lovebirds.
I wasn't able to make videos for a while because just like what the content of this video is, I was also into breeding. And in my first clutch, I want you to meet Zephyr Sly. Say hi, Zephyr. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody and everybody. Hi. So while you are still here, you are now a true birdologist. So make sure to comment, share, subscribe, whatever. So if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to my channel. And for those about to subscribe, we salute you. Yeah. Goodbye, everybody, and everybody, goodbye. God bless you, and happy bird keeping.
Birdology.